Cause I'm legit, ain't no funny shit. SBAD is finna teach you how to move. Straight from overseas to my motherfucking dope. You ain't gotta serve, I ain't putting back. People get this shit up with the fucking hoes and watch. You know I'm with the dealer now. Get that good shit, the cut on the dope. Graduated so weed, now I'm in a booth. Put them with my nigga, what he doing.
Our journey started by getting some emergency foods. I got some pork rinds and some lard, very powerful stuff. Right after that we headed off to our destination, we met with some friends and we also made a last stop to a supermarket.
Alright, this is going to be the last meal I have. I'm gonna take some these things and some mascarpone, it's crazy. Very dense, I'm gonna eat this and that's it, okay? My friends there are choosing the wines.
Volume 13, 2 litri, bro.
After my friends for some reason decided to take some wine, I was enjoying my last meal and I was aware that that was gonna be the last thing I will ever eat in these next 3 days. Which wasn't the best feeling, but at the same time it was tasting good.
Well,
before we knew it, we were at the spot. Okay, that's the problem. We didn't know where to go from here. On Google Maps we looked for this place and this exact bridge was the only picture that we were aware of. We didn't know if there was something else, but we already came this far, we had no choice but keep walking. And that's what we did. We started walking, following some trails, trying not to get lost. We found some mushrooms, some footprints, and it was great. It was great until time started to stack up and it was starting to get late and we still hadn't found a place to stay, and that was the problem. Keep in mind we have to stay close to the river. If we don't have water we cannot drink, and the problem is that every time we found a trail that kind of led us to the river, either it was at that end or it wasn't just a feasible place to stay and set up camp. We kept walking. I even found some berries, but they were not good, they weren't sweet, they were hard.
They are hard as fuck.
no.
But at least I found some great, dry, very flammable tinder, which will come in handy later.
We also found these very fibrous materials. It is so flammable, you have no idea. I just tried it, I lit a spark and it immediately combusted. I know about these ones, but they also look flammable. Hopefully we can find some of these things where we will set up camp.
Well, I was a little bit optimistic at that point, to be honest, because we were nowhere close to finding a camp, okay? We kept walking for hours. It was getting late, okay? It was getting like 5 or 6 o'clock and we still hadn't found a good path, okay? A good trail. We were so high up and we didn't find a way to get down. I didn't even record this part, to be honest. I wasn't even sure we were gonna make it at all. So, you know, we kind of sat down. I remember that we accepted our fate and you would probably have to go back to the car, fucking sleep there or something, okay? We genuinely had no idea what to do because there was no guide, there was no map. We were there by ourselves, so there was no one to help us. So as a last hope, we sent one person to, you know, just check out one more last trail, and luckily he brought us some promising news.
This place is magical. It's like so extraterrestrial. This is so like, I don't know, suggestive. Very strange. Bro.
So as we keep venturing deeper and deeper into this, honestly, kind of suggestive path, we finally find an opening. And this opening seems to go down to the river. So we decide to follow it.
Qualcosa cucchiolano lì. Ah, ok.
Quello?
Non lo so. Sì, vabbè. Ho solo il caffè. Non è difficile, è una partita. Che cazzo di soldato?
And finally, after all of that walking and all of the hopelessness, we finally spot it. We see the river.
Boh. Boia sei alto per io poi cavolo. Occhio, raga, via. Dai, 1 metro alla sinistra per il morto. No, così. Dove non parcheggiare. No, ancora il fiume è bello in basso. Sì, si è visto. È tutto rosso. Infatti ha senso.
Oh, yeah.
A meno che non tu stai cinghiali senza testa. Lo schifo. No.
At this point our chances were looking pretty good, okay? We kept getting closer and closer to the river and you know, we were very relieved, okay? Because we went from not knowing if we were even gonna find a place to sleep to finding a pretty good opening, okay? You will see in a moment how the opening looked like, but it's very pretty if you ask me.
Yo. This place looks amazing. Look at this shit. Wow. Bro, that's amazing. Fucking hell.
State arrivi una bella acquata. Nel senso, a volte arriva un po' inondato.
Yo, all these moss is going to be amazing for the shelter. Look at how much there is. It's amazing. I see so many possibilities here to make a... I think so tonight we're gonna try and not use the sleeping bag. We want to try hardcore just with the, you know, dress like this. I've got this long shirt and try to sleep without a sleeping bag. We never done this. We usually had a sleeping bag and slept, you know, somewhere. We never brought a tent, but at least a sleeping bag. This time we're gonna try without a sleeping bag. And I feel optimistic because there is so much moss, you know, so much insulating material. I think it's actually possible. Like this place is used. It's amazing. Look at this. Però è bellissimo sto posto, porca puttana.
Questo spiazzo qua.
Bro.
Questo cerchio qui è proprio la base.
Like, this is the perfect site.
Dio merda.
That's amazing. Wow.
Da qui a lì. No, raga. Che camminata però.
No.
3 ore.
Sì? Grande alzo. We walked so much for this, we could not find a spot. We finally found one.
Dio bastardo.
That's a fucking beautiful spot. I think we can make like a campfire in the middle here. Fuck, was it too cold? And I guess also here there is many possibilities. What about a great shelter right under this falling tree? Just kidding, obviously. Don't do that. Don't make a shelter under a falling tree. You will die. And this looks amazing. This place is so wonderful. I don't know if it like makes sense on camera, but seeing this in person is so pretty. I love this.
So that's great news. We found a place to stay and look at what my friends found while exploring the surrounding area.
Bro, nah, look at what he found.
Questa è la mia sedia.
It's amazing. Trash is so useful now.
Ce ne so altre.
Davvero?
Sì, ce ne so 4 strette.
Boh. Bra, sembra giocare a raft.
Questa è la mia sedia. 6 su 10.
So while we made ourselves comfortable, we also tried taking down this like massive trunk with very little success, to be honest. We also decided to go down to the river, see if it was accessible, if there was water, and if there were fishes and all of that stuff. While I was there, I also found the tires my friend was talking about. And the funny thing is that reminded me of a game I used to play when I was a kid. It was called Stranded Deep, and you used to collect these tires to make the base for the boats. I thought I would mention it. And yeah, after that we just went to the water and it was delightful.
This looks amazing. Holy shit. I think it was worth the walk. There is no fucking one here. It's only us. We had a lot of struggle to come here, but it looks amazing. Wow.
I mean, it goes without saying that this is one of the best views I've ever seen, to be honest. Like, lake and water-wise, not lake, I mean river-wise, you know, it's probably the best river I've ever seen. Like, if you look at the color, like, look at how beautiful that is, oh my god.
It would be amazing to find some fish here. This is going to be the source of water and maybe food, hopefully. There is a dragonfly there. It's a great bait. Maybe have a few bats here. The water is not too cold. Yeah, this is perfect. So we were heading back to camp and then I saw this, okay? So I'm not an expert, I'm no nothing, but this very much looks like something called the chicken of the forest. Now I'm gonna have to fact check this, but if this is the case, I was smelling this. And this smells not bad. Kind of smells like chicken broth. I know this sounds strange, but it kind of does. And if this is the mushroom, I think it is, then like we are on game. Like, this is so fucking good, I've heard. I'm gonna consult with my friends and we'll head back to camp and try to build something.
So everything was going great. We found you know, the river, we found water, and we also found tires and even hopefully like these very promising looking mushrooms. We even found this fungus, I don't remember the name, but it's supposed to like burn for a long time and, you know, also repel insects. The only problem is that that was completely damp, it will not burn very well, and even if dried, like, it would take too much time to dry. We tried burning it, but it wasn't working. On top of that, we didn't know what will come up next, and, you know, all the things we were hoping for will not turn out to be good. So what we did was just go back to camp and started collecting wood so we could build something for the night.
Okay, so we're collecting some wood for fire. This is like firewood, and this pile is for building shelter. So we're kind of organizing wood and then we'll get started building a shelter. I don't know where, I don't know how, probably a lean-to somewhere around these trees, because there is a lot of moss and I really want to use this. Okay, so we decided what to do, and we're going to use up this angle by way of reinforcing this side. So we want to reinforce this whole side here. Then we want to also reinforce this side to make it a little bit cozier. So we have this angle here, and then make a simple roof over the top. Not the most efficient thing, but we want to change up a little bit. We usually went for efficiency, but this time we want to go for something a little bit more fancy.
Raga, attenti, ci sono degli insetti che si attaccano addosso, sotto pelle, ce n'avevo uno sotto la maglietta. Mi sarà aggrappato qui. Mi pinzava.
Cazzo. So this looks good because we can also, you know, store the things in the corner here, maybe the bags and the supplies. So once we have the sides, we can get a roof like this that comes all the way here, and just see where it takes us. So we're gonna gather some wood now and we'll get started. By the way, all of this stuff is going to be cleared out. Okay, so we made some progress here. We planted a big pillar where we will, yeah, we changed plan. It's not a triangle anymore, it's more of a, I don't know, like a square. And the plan was to make, you know, a simple slanted roof here with, yeah, simple sticks. But this was the main pillar that has to hold like the structure, okay? And have kind of a open area here where we can maybe place the tires there. And I don't know, I guess some fire. Looks pretty cozy. This looks very messy because we didn't tidy anything here, so it doesn't look organized, but I'm sure that once we finish this, it's gonna look amazing. Here the progress is also very good. This bed looks amazing. Oh, fra, ma è morbido, fra. Serio. I'm gonna place the camera somewhere and try to record the time lapse.
So I think it's time to explain the rules of this challenge. I've not done that yet. So the baseline challenge is to go somewhere with no food, no water, no shelter, and try to stay there as much as possible, okay? Until like we cannot, we're fucking starving. That's the challenge. I mean, hopefully we can find some food. That's not very likely, to be honest. So we go there with some basic equipment. We bring a knife, a ferro rod, a pot, and also usually some sleeping bags. We wanted to try without it this time, but as you can see, we were not able the first night. And yeah, that's the baseline challenge. Then if you want to bring something else, we usually do like maybe some fishing lines, some hooks. We brought them this time, but we didn't use them, there were no fishes. And yeah, that's pretty much the baseline challenge. We also bring some emergency stuff, like for instance, we have a tarp, like a huge tarp as an emergency shelter. We bring some medicines, we bring some food, like just in case we really need to eat something, that we have it. One thing, at the end of every challenge, we usually feast basically on the foods we brought as an emergency food. So we are gonna do that at the end of this challenge as well. Next clip is going to be probably the most satisfying thing of the whole adventure. I fucking love gathering moss, man.
So this is so satisfying, look at this. Satisfying.
Dieci chili di droga. Lì com'è bella srotolabile. Questo lo taglio. Qua mi sento come un cazzo di indiano in quei video che ti guardi alle 4 di notte.
This is coming out amazing. This is so soft. It is so good of a... It feels like a moquette, you know? All the rest is coming out pretty fine. I don't think we will finish the roof today. Maybe just the walls and the floor, because we will not use the sleeping bag, so we gotta be as comfy as possible. This will be very useful. I'll try to make one last video because it's about to get dark and we will not see nothing. Let me show you how the progress is going here. Assurdo. Yo. Belli sti rocci. And then we have this beautiful hammock. This is really, like, when you see an hammock like this in a camp, it really looks like a camp, you know.
It was starting to get dark and we had a shelter, but we had no fire, so we were cold and in the dark. It wasn't a great spot to be in, so I rushed over to my tools and I got my flint and steel. Or if we want to be precise, probably not called flint and steel, it's probably called ferro rod, like fire starter, something like that. I played Minecraft, so for me flint and steel is the thing that lights the fire, so that's probably the reason. That's not the point. The point is that starting a fire was very hard, okay, very, very hard. We stayed there like half an hour, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, okay, it was getting very late and we had no fire. So I'll be honest with you, we had to, I had to resort to like some kind of lighter maybe, I don't remember exactly, and yeah, even with the tinder, it did light on fire. The problem is that it was so damp that it wasn't staying on, like the flame died immediately. Even if there was a flame, we were not able to keep it alive. We even made some feather sticks and some very fine tinder, but just wasn't working. So I'm not gonna lie to you, we probably ended up using a lighter. It's been a long time, like this footage is very old, so I don't exactly remember what we did, but I guess we used the lighter.
Ci aspettava un botto. Era lì.
Okay, so this is too wet, so we're gonna try to make some, he's going to make some feather sticks. This looks amazing, look at this. Hopefully with these things we will catch the little flame that there is and light a fire.
And then light a joint. Nope. Fail. Try again. Wasted. Ok. Ora te lo spammo alla prima.
Oh oh, giù, porco dio.
Guarda dei strazzini. Dei strazzini.
So at this point, we really thought we had it, because we had a pretty good flame going on, but unfortunately that wasn't it, okay? We didn't manage to keep the flame alive, and yeah, I think it was at this point that we decided to use the lighter. So honestly, after this, after we lit the fire with the lighter, I didn't record anything. Like, the next clip is literally me waking up, so I'm just gonna narrate you what happened. So, we had the fire, we gathered around it, we stayed a little bit up, and then it was time to sleep. So we had the fire right below our feet, and we laid down on the shelter, on the moss. And remember, we didn't want to use a sleeping bag, so that was the challenge there. And that was a problem, because it was pretty cold outside. We didn't have any insulation whatsoever. We had some moss on the ground, but it wasn't enough. The fire kept going off, and we had to refuel it every time, and it was just very cold. So, on an attempt to like keep ourselves warm, we hugged each other, we spooned all night. Well, an interesting experience, but that wasn't it. It wasn't working. So we ended up finally using a sleeping bag, okay, for that night. Oh, I also forgot to mention, but my friends got drunk that night. So tonight I went not very well. It was cold. Obviously the fire didn't last much. I slept, not much, but it was cold as fuck. We had to resort to taking the sleeping bag and using it as a blanket. It wasn't easy. Now hopefully we will be able to turn the fire back on, because it's freezing cold. I am shivering almost, but I see no coals, so I think it's gonna be a little bit harder than I thought to turn the fire back on. Other than that, honestly the floor was comfortable as fuck. And today we're gonna finish the fucking base, because it was cold, so fucking cold. I never want to sleep like this again. I want to have a warm base, a warm shelter. This is not warm, okay? So let's see next night if we will be able to sleep. Yeah. As soon as we woke up, we realized that the cold temperatures were debilitating. The only thought of moving around camp gave us chills. We needed a fire to warm ourselves up.
Is it? Böyle şintilli farklı bir oraya var mı?
After all of the striking from yesterday, my hands were in huge pain, but luckily after using the tinder we managed to get a fire. So we got the fire going, and I forgot to mention, we got this big piece of bark to act as a reflector, as a heat reflector. It really like reflects the heat, I don't know how, but it really does help with keeping the temperature with us. So once we warmed up, it was time to actually build a shelter once and for all, because I didn't want to sleep that cold again. The base looks amazing, like the color is so good. It has to be finished, so I'm gonna take some moss now. Also there are these I guess chestnuts. I've opened one and there is obviously chestnuts inside. I'm wondering if they can be eaten now or there is like a specific time of the year. I know nothing about this shit, but imagine we had roasted chestnuts for lunch. That would be amazing. So hopefully they can be eaten, and later we will try to and see if we can. But there is also chicken of the wood that we found earlier. Hopefully we can get that too. And now let's take some moss. Gathering the moss was very satisfying, and after that I started to patch up the roof, okay, with some bark I found around. I also found a dead tree, which is the one I saw at the beginning, and I noticed that the bark will be peeled off pretty easily, so I decided to gather that for the roof as well.
Un po' morte.
We're making the roof, and it's coming out quite nice. It's kind of getting more and more isolating. Let's add some moss now. As we kept adding the moss, the base was looking more and more like a base, okay? It was getting covered up and it felt comfortable, okay? It felt safe. And hopefully it will feel warm in the night, because again, I don't want to sleep there in the fucking cold. Alright, so the shelter is coming on pretty well. I've got to make the wall right here. I'm gonna make it horizontal, and I made a coat hanger. Okay, it is like something I learned on YouTube a while ago, and it's basically a simple log with a spike here, which is tied to a tree. Okay, I found this like lying around. A friend of mine found this. It's basically trash, and it's very useful now. So I make this coat hanger. It simply wraps around there, and it's very strong. Okay, I didn't expect it, but holds up pretty much any weight you put it in. So yeah, that's pretty useful. I'm gonna make a few, maybe to hang some other backpacks or some other stuff. Okay, so this is how it's going now. We boiled some water here in a glass bottle, and yeah, hopefully we don't get diseases from this water. I honestly never drank boiled water. I usually brought water myself, so there's gonna be a new one for me. And yeah, it's pretty hot right now, so I don't know how. Honestly, I didn't even see that boil, and I know it should boil for a bit, but I mean it kind of stayed under the fire for a long time. I think it is safe to drink. Okay, I'm not a scientist, but I mean I don't think anything is gonna survive there. So we picked up the mushrooms, the chicken of the woods, and we are cooking it. Let's try a piece. Well, I was a little bit too fast there. The mushroom was still very raw, so I just waited and started building on the shelter. I made the walls and it was looking awesome. Making progress with the shelter. Made the wall here. I have to fortify it a little bit, and then last improvement is going to be to cover that and maybe up there and some minor adjustment here. Last point will be to cover up the front so that we can hold up the heat better. So we have to cover this up, but other than that it's coming up pretty good. Maybe tonight we will not fucking freeze to death.
Meglio di prima.
Sì. Però ci vorrebbe dell'olio.
Second attempt. Anche il sale però.
Sì. Sale? Che ne pensi?
Però
Buono.
mi piace sta un botto. Però è umami. Non è salato però è buono. So it's not. Bro.
Passaggio di coltello.
No! There is a little bit of bitterness, but
That's the poison.
that's the poison. And but it's savory. It's not salty. It tastes bad. It doesn't taste good. But
sto creando
it's like
un cazzo di
a little bit savory.
per la tua
It's kind of palatable. Better than nothing, I guess.
estasi.
Grazie,
Sa di legno.
Sa di legno.
Legno poroso.
Legno poroso, però, bravo. L'esteriore l'hai descritto perfettamente.
Vero. Overall, not the best thing. If I was dying, I would eat that, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not hungry. It's been over a day. I've not eaten. I'm not hungry. I don't know why. Anyway, this is how it's going on. The wall is pretty much done. Now I'm gonna try to fill out the holes and maybe fix the floor a little bit if it needs to be fixed. Honestly, this was very comfortable last night, so I don't think it needs any improvements. Maybe I will fill out the holes here with some dirt or some moss maybe, and even that hole. See you later. I found like this blue stick, but what the fuck? This is crazy. Honestly, I've never seen a pigmentation like this. This is blue. Okay, this is some kind of yeast. I don't fucking know what this is, but this is not dye. This is not painted. Okay, and it's fucking blue. That's amazing. Look at this. It's crazy. It's not very visible, but we are done with the front side, kind of. There's still some moss to be put here, and the side here is also done. Yeah, kind of. So that is done here. Also the back is properly cut. The side wall is done. This is the place where we put the wood, firewood. Yeah, see the inside. Can see shit. You're gonna see it tomorrow. So I'm in the den and it looks good in the shelter. It's kind of a cabinet. Sorry, a cabin. So yeah, there's the fire here. We're trying to warm the hut, and hopefully this will be insulating enough to be warm at night, maybe. So at this point the shelter was very cozy. I can clearly remember I heard a sound outside. Okay, I was taking a piss and I heard that I have some rustling in the bushes, and I was so scared. I ran back into the shelter like a fucking scared kid, and man, I felt so safe. I felt protected. Like if there was anything else outside, I would have felt safe there. In the original video file I also mentioned, and by the way, if you wanna see the full video like without any cuts, I put a link in the description. I also mentioned that this shelter was probably one of the best shelters we've ever made in terms of aesthetic and maybe usefulness, but you know, we'll never know that before the end of the night. And there is also a fucking window here. I don't know if you already saw this. It's fucking crazy.
L'ho scoperto perché piaceva a mia mamma.
And yeah, we are going to cover this with a piece of cloth we found here as trash, as a loot.
yeah, that's kind of it. We kind of reinforced all the walls with moss and shit, so that's kind of everything. Let's see how. We're gonna sleep tonight. In a few minutes, I'll try to sleep and see if this works. Okay, let's see if this keeps us warm. Good night.
Okay, so with this we wrap up our journey. This is the last morning we'll have to spend in this place, and let me tell you, the night wasn't exactly how we planned it to be. We had the fire close to the shelter, but the heat just didn't penetrate, it just didn't stay inside. I tried heating up, like trying to basically light a small fire, very controlled fire on a piece of bark inside the shelter. Obviously it wasn't nearly enough heat to warm up the shelter. It was just like a little fucking embers, like some small embers on top of some bark, and yeah, in hopes of warming something up, but it wasn't enough. Absolutely was not. Some rocks, we even placed some hot rocks inside the shelter. Obviously it wasn't near enough, so it wasn't very successful of a shelter, to be honest. We ended up freezing anyway, and we were even more people this time. We were 3 people inside this shelter. The guy from the hammock decided to join us in hopes that it will feel a little bit warmer. It just didn't work out. Okay, so that's what happened. It wasn't hot, it wasn't warm at all, so it was a fail on our end. So the shelter did not work, and yeah, we kind of failed in that. But that's fine. So we woke up, and the next thing to do was to light a fire and feast on our emergency food. Okay, this is the last step of any survival experience. You have to feast on the food you brought for emergency at the end of the experience. That's kind of the rule. And wow, those were the best pork rinds I've ever eaten. As you can see, I got my pork rinds and my pork lard, so yeah, I got everything I need. And yeah, honestly, I was enjoying this a little bit too much. This is the first meal after 2 days, I think. 2 days and a half of not eating. I've not eaten anything apart from those 2 bites of mushroom. Fuck, this is so good. Honestly, not that hungry. I don't know why, but this is just so good. I'm gonna keep eating, and then there is this pork fat. So yeah, honestly, I have some theory of why I'm not feeling tired and hungry. I don't feel tired at all. Usually I feel tired at this point. Maybe it's the diet. Maybe being like fat adapted helps. By not feeling tired. I have a whole there is a whole theory about that. I can maybe put it up on the screen. But essentially, if you're used to using fat as your energy, which I am at the moment, you don't feel tired immediately because you don't have to rely on glucose as a energy source. So you, like with the fat you have in your